And Professor, in the exchange paradigm, the emphasis on entrepreneur is the central point through which coordination takes place, because the entrepreneur is alert to profit opportunities as well as willingness to bet on perceived opportunities. So they are driving economic change through arbitrage, which is buying low and selling high, and also innovations, which is improvements in the existing products or production techniques, or the introduction of new product or production techniques. And this was driven largely by the work of Israel Kirzner in the 1970s, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah, Professor.
That's right. So when we think about, and I love this question specifically, you're asking me about all my favorite people. So I appreciate that.
No, my favorite also.
Yeah, so Kirzner is one of those scholars who you mentioned.
Yeah.
Really, we start looking at his work in the 1970s, and within just kind of the broader context. With Kirzner, you really start to see this period of what's now referred to as the Austrian revival. So you
Yeah.
see, again, of course, we talked about the socialist calculation debate, but in the 1970s and then into the 80s and the 90s, you start to see this, again, kind of re-emergence of the Austrian school. And we owe that in very large part to the work of Israel Kirzner. And so when we think about kind of how to answer the questions that are raised by Mises and Hayek in terms of knowledge and how knowledge is discovered and communicated,
Yeah.
Kirzner comes in with this discussion of the function of the entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Now, it's important to note that Kirzner's concept of an entrepreneur looks maybe
Yeah.
a bit different than the way other academic work thinks about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
For Kirzner, entrepreneurship or an entrepreneurial alertness, as he calls
Yeah.
it, is something that's possessed by all people.
Yeah.
And people are going to be alert to different, again, profit opportunities. So ways that they can reconfigure, say, capital or different processes that they can use
Yeah.
to, solve potential problems, find, again, new solutions for problems, provide new goods and services, or find different ways of reconfiguring or reworking things to change processes that have historically been in place. And so Kirzner's work is profoundly important in our understanding of how it is that markets function. But then to link back to some other things that we had talked about when we talk about intervention into markets, whether we're talking about non-comprehensive planning or if we're talking about comprehensive socialism, Kirzner's work on entrepreneurship also provides us some important insights as to how that intervention impacts people's entrepreneurial alertness and how they direct their entrepreneurial energies in ways that are productive as well as unproductive.
Yeah. So Kirzner's work was the foundation for the entrepreneurship theory literature, which Scott Shane and Venkataraman built in the 1990s and 2000. I think it is still like people are building on his work even today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my colleagues here at the University of Tampa in entrepreneurship are all familiar with Kirzner. His work there is really well known within that discipline. And so he is certainly one scholar, and that is one very clear area where people can see how Austrian economics and the insights from Austrian economics and Austrian scholars have been adopted and really integrated into other disciplines.